Live at Lunch is produced by KRFC 88.9 FM in the Ginger and Baker Studio in Fort Collins, Colorado, and supported by the Music District, a music-centric gathering place to cultivate talents, support professional development, and encourage connections. Welcome to Live at Lunch here on KRFC 88.9 FM, streaming live at krfcfm.org. I'm your host today, David V., and today's special musical guest is Katya Grasso.
You said to me are still ringing in my head. You were so soft and gentle and I was so misled. What do I do when you have my only heart? Letting you take it all wasn't very smart. Will this feeling go away? Will this feeling go away? Searching for answers, but I find fog and fear. Begging the blackbird to sing his song, to keep me from the blues as I walk alone. Will this feeling go away? Will this feeling go away? So hard, I put my bets on you and I lost all the cards.
Katya Grasso here on KRFC's Live at Lunch. How's everybody doing today?
Doing good.
Very good. I'm going to introduce the band here. Katya Grasso on vocals and guitar, and Rob Weberg on bass. I'm going to get it. Jake Clewell on the drums. Perfect. And Lance Ruby, Mr. Journeyman himself here, sitting in for Luke Siddons, the usual lead guitarist, but of course, Lance, you're doing a great job as always. All right, so we'll start out with Katya today. I'm a little curious. You know, obviously Katya is a beautiful Russian name, yet you don't have much Russian heritage, do you?
Nope, not at all.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, family-wise?
Yeah, so I grew up in Las Vegas, Nevada, which is a pretty unique place to grow up. And I moved to Fort Collins about a year ago, so I'm still pretty new. But I have 4 brothers and sisters. And I was influenced to play guitar from my 2 older brothers. So they both are songwriters and performers. So.
What brought you out to Fort Collins specifically from Vegas?
So my husband and I, we looked at the map and we made a list of all the places that we thought would be cool to live. And we applied to jobs all over the country. And the first one that got back to us was in Colorado, and we hadn't been to Fort Collins before, so we were like, let's try it. So we moved out here on a whim, didn't know a single person, and now we have an amazing community. So I'm so thankful that we made the move.
All right. So you mentioned your brothers were both musical. Would you say they're the mentors, the people that originally got you interested in playing music?
Yeah, I would say they had their guitars around all the time. And my brother Chris, he is an amazing songwriter. There's a song I'll be playing today that we wrote together. So he is just an inspiration to learn from, songwriting-wise, and just having that influence around just sparked me to pick up the guitar. But I didn't pick it up till I was 18, so yeah.
What are your musical influence these days as far as singer? I assume it's singer-songwriter?
Yeah, so I feel like I have had the same musical interest for a long time. So I would say like Damien Rice is my number one, along with Bon Iver and Neutral Milk Hotel. So those are my 3. I have those albums lined up in my studio at home, so on the wall. So yeah, it varies, but I listen to a lot of just acoustic singer-songwriter.
So when you first moved out here, like you said, you didn't know anybody. How'd you get into the Fort Collins music scene?
I actually through Dalton Vaughn. So I met Dalton within a couple weeks of living here, and within, I would say, a day, he already had 3 gigs lined up for me. So it was just right away. I got to know the venues around town, and I stayed local. And then over time, I've moved, to playing the Denver gigs, and it's been a great time.
So you were playing in Vegas, I assume?
I wasn't,
before you came in here?
Because I moved there during COVID, actually. So I grew up in Vegas, ended up spending some time in California and Oregon and Spain. And when I came back to Vegas, we lived there for about 10 months and then decided, hey, let's try something new.
So you studied at the University of Oregon, and what were you studying?
I was studying film, actually.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Yet you went into a musical career.
I know. I love it. And I still have my cameras, and now my husband has taken over the film and the photography aspect, so it's nice to have Kyle at our gigs, taking photos for us, and yeah.
Excellent. So the next tune you're going to play is In Time, and why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
So In Time is actually the most recent song I've written, and I wrote it during COVID in October of 2020. So I was sitting outside. My parents have a ranch property, and it's my favorite place in the world to be because it's so isolated from everything, and you just have the mountains around. And so I was sitting out by the fire with my guitar, just by myself, and feeling the pull to keep pursuing music. But at the time, obviously, there weren't prospects available. Like there weren't many options. Everything that I had planned now, was on standstill. And so I was in the position of, do I give up music and pursue something else for the sake of just having a job? And
that was
just
a precipice, wasn't it?
Yeah, and so this is definitely an internal struggle because obviously during that time, there weren't many options available to be playing live, obviously. So I wrote this song in an attempt to kind of capture that feeling inside of me of, no, this is something that's magic, that like it brings me alive. It's like a spiritual experience to play music for me, and I couldn't give it up. And so this song is about that like clash between the sensible self and the more creative and passionate side of myself. And so, yeah.
So far from where I came down, too busy to look around, wondering if I'll ever know what it feels like to be at home. So much that I like to say, but all these words get in the way. The mountains and rivers just there, asking why I'm not living over there. But I wanna follow the birds, moving along the river as it curves. Water rolls in and away, but I know in time I'll be okay. If not now, then where and when will I get to take this chance again? I've been up, but I've been down. It's been so long since I've came around. But I wanna follow the birds, moving along the river as it curves. Water rolls in and away. I know in time I'll be okay. I wanna know how far I must go to hold this in my hands. I wanna hold this in my hands. I wanna follow the birds, moving along the river as it curves. Water rolls in and away, but I know in time I'll be okay.
Katya Grasso here on Live at Lunch. I'm going to speak with Rob right now for a little while. How you doing, Rob?
Hi, good, thanks.
Great. You've been playing bass for a little while.
Yeah.
Since you're 14?
Almost 20 years now, I realize, believe it or not.
Are you from this area originally?
No, I grew up in Georgetown, Massachusetts. It's half an hour north of Boston.
So then you moved to Seattle. You didn't like the East Coast, so you went to the West Coast?
Yeah, actually, I moved around a couple parts of the West Coast. But I moved here from Seattle, so I actually lived on Maui for a year. That was my first move, and then lived in California for a couple years, and then moved to Seattle, and then here from Seattle to actually join another local band, Venture Still. Yeah. And then started playing with Katya almost a year ago now.
So why all the moves?
I guess I couldn't get settled anywhere. I don't know. Yeah, it was my first one was my brother. He was on Maui. He invited me out there, and I kind of wanted a fresh start, kind of thing. So I thought I'd give that a shot, get out of my comfort zone a little bit, and then
got a little claustrophobic there after a year or so.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, it was amazing, but yeah, you eventually get kind of island fever. So I just picked a new spot. A couple of my friends wanted to go to California, south of San Francisco. So I spent 3 years there, and then ended up in Seattle 3 years too. I don't know, just trying to explore the country, I guess.
Were you playing bass in all those places?
I was, not as seriously, kind of more as a hobby. It's kind of playing around. I always had a bass with me. I even brought it out to Maui. I was just messing around with it, but I think after high school, I didn't take it as seriously. I was just kind of jamming around a little bit. I jammed with a couple people on and off, but never until I came out here, I started actually jamming with a band and thinking this could be something I could do more regularly.
What were you listening to growing up?
I think a whole wide range. I think my father was probably the biggest musical influence. He loved, he's Grateful Dead, Beatles, Rolling Stones, all classic rock, a ton of different jazz. He has like 500 CDs. I think he's always had music playing. I think growing up, I'd listen to a lot of different kinds of music.
What'd you gravitate towards as a bass player?
I think it started with like Flea and a couple of those, the popular bass players, and then I started getting into solo bass players like Victor Wooten, Marcus Miller, Stanley Clark, Jaco Pastorius, stuff like that. And that really, I think when I discovered them, that was in 2008, it kind of opened up my whole world of bass playing, and I was like seeing what the bass is capable of. I'm like, okay. Then I started learning slap bass, and that kind of just took off from there. So,
amazing.
Yeah. So
are you still playing with Venture Still?
I am, yeah. Actually, yeah, it's been 6 years, almost 7 years now.
Yeah, good.
So, yeah.
And are you doing any other acts besides Venture Still and Katya?
No, I think I thought about that. I think this is my first time trying to join a second group, and that was, I think this is good for now. Just try to practice that. Probably enough, yeah.
You have any daytime jobs, outside jobs for the music?
I do. I work at Lucky's Market
in
Fort Collins, assistant grocery manager. Been there since store opened. Almost 4 years now. Yeah.
Good solid job in northern Colorado.
Yeah.
We have an abundance of grocery stores, don't we?
Oh, yeah. That's kind of all I've done, too. So that kind of I ended up gravitating back towards that after trying different jobs and stuff. So that's been my go-to.
All right.
But, yeah.
While we're speaking, you want to give a shout-out to Venture Still as far as upcoming shows for them?
Yeah, actually, I think there's not a whole lot coming up. We just played a couple shows recently, but the singer is about to have a baby, actually, pretty soon. He's due in the next week or two. So I think he's taking a little bit of a breather, but I don't know actually. I don't have any dates to plug coming up.
What's the best website for Venture Still?
I believe it's just venturestillmusic.com. There's
people
a lot of
can check
there.
that out then.
Absolutely.
All right. So coming up next here is With Only the Mountains. You're going to have to explain that title to me.
So, With Only the Mountains is a song about the solitude of nature and just enjoying the present moments. And this song is particularly about a new relationship, but it could be anything, or you kind of just tune out everything else and just focus on the sounds, of the grasses outside blowing in the wind, or just like small little things. And this song was written inspired by the mountains in northern New Mexico. So I've spent a lot of time there with my friends. And so I was like, this would be a really perfect place to base a song.
Yeah, you wanted to ask a special favor of KRFC viewers and listeners as far as helping you out with a band name.
Yeah, so we were thinking it would be cool to ask listeners if they have any suggestions for a band name as we migrate from a Katya Grasso solo project to something new, and we'll be starting to write together as a band. So we don't have a name quite yet.
Something that fits your genre and what you're doing now here, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
And where can people go to submit their ideas?
On the Instagram, Facebook page for KRFC. That would be a great place. Just in the comments, put an idea and we'll look them over. Yeah, we'd love to hear what your thoughts are.
And when we put you on the Live at Lunch Facebook page for KRFC, it'll be a great time for people to chime in and give their thoughts on a new band name.
All right. Okay.
I don't think that I've been here before. Do you mind if I stay for a little while? We can journey down as far as this love will go. Wandering down our own little road, and we'll wake up in a room full of light, with only the mountains and wildflowers in our sight. Fingers, they dance softly across my skin, and the sun, it warms this little house that we've been living in. No time is ever wasted on loving you. I've been busy diving in your eyes of blue. Crossing streams and borderlines, your love leaves me full and satisfied. And we'll wake up in a room full of light, with only the mountains and wildflowers in our sight. Your fingers, they dance softly across my skin, and the sun, it warms this little house that we've been living in.
Katya Grasso here on KRFC's Live at Lunch. Beautiful tune. Beautiful tune.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. All right. So I want to get to know the drummer a little bit here. And Jake, how you been?
Good, how are you?
Good. So you've been playing quite a while yourself since you were about 12?
Yeah, off and on. It was the best Easter present I ever got. I got a drum set for Easter.
Now, who do your parents have to thank for that?
That was my dad, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because he needed me to make more noise, apparently. So thanks to him for putting up with it. So yeah, it was kind of off and on. Just mostly played by myself, and then was in a couple bands in high school, and after that was in one before I moved out here about a year ago, and then met Katya a couple months back, and so it's been kind of here and there, but I've always loved the drums, and it's always been a fun instrument.
Grew up in Pennsylvania?
That's right.
Yeah? What part?
Harrisburg.
All right.
Yep.
So what made you make the move out to Colorado?
Everything. I came out to visit a friend about 2 years ago, and I'm a big mountain guy, so I love hiking and biking and all that stuff, and great views, and the people. It was just a nice change. I don't know.
Central Pennsylvania has got those like foothill. We call them foothills. They call them mountains there, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we have mountains in PA.
Oh, okay.
But,
But what were your influence musically when you were growing up that made you want to play drums too?
So the first songs I ever learned to play were Maroon 5. The Songs About Jane was the album I had on my boombox that I would play, which shows my age. But I mostly like a lot of rock and alternative stuff. My dad was still is a radio DJ back in PA too, so I grew up listening to like Black Sabbath and Zeppelin and all
Classic
those.
rock.
Yeah. I was a boy band kid, but then I'd walk around and hum, Stairway to Heaven and stuff like that. So.
Well, I see that you also were influenced, it looks like, by the Foo Fighters. Little Taylor Hawkins, Dave Grohl.
Yeah, big Foo Fighters guy for sure.
Yeah,
I just like how they kind of incorporate rhythm, not necessarily the drum part specifically, but just how they all kind of work together. I like that sort of style. So,
are you playing with other acts in addition to Katya?
No, this is it.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So they're not doing the Taylor Hawkins pounding so much, but more finesse.
I wish
finesse.
I could be half of that. That's my goal. Yeah.
All right. So what do you think of Colorado so far?
It's going really well. Yeah, I like having plenty of stuff to do. That's the one knock on PA. There's just not a ton around, in my opinion. So.
I was just going to ask you about that. I mean, Pennsylvania is a big state, huge population.
Sure.
But musically, what you think there's more opportunities and people to meet and places to play out here in this area?
Yeah, I wouldn't say that I was super involved with the music scene to know that much about it, but I think it was sort of easier to access out here, easier to kind of get caught up in it, and definitely more, in my opinion, more sort of styles that are available to listen to and go see. Which is cool. There's a lot of good music in PA too, but if you're looking for variety and have a couple different tastes, I think this is a great place. Tons of venues to go and check out. So, yeah,
lots of people to meet.
It's been great. Yeah.
Okay. Well, Traveling On is the next tune. Tell us a little bit about it.
Traveling On is a song that's pretty dear to me, but it's a song that I wrote in the midst of an emotional, just kind of turmoil, and it's kind of about, even though things may be happening around you, maybe things that aren't, they just don't sit well inside, and you just feel like this uneasiness. It's kind of written in the perspective that my love will always go on, no matter in what form. There's no need to be sad about, it's just kind of thinking about love in terms of like an infinite source instead of just from one person or one thing in your life.
All right. Mm-hmm.
if you wanted me to. I'm stranded on an island of doubt, and I'm just screaming out, could it ever be the same? Just like that, you're traveling on, but don't you worry about me, 'cause my love, it flows down like a river, and it keeps on going endlessly. There was a time when your love could fill me up, never needed more than what was in front of us. We fell at first, flying without a sense of fear, as we let the weight of the world all just disappear. And just like that, you're traveling on, but don't you worry about me, 'cause my love, it flows down like a river, and it keeps on going endlessly. And just like that, you're traveling on, but don't you worry about me, 'cause my love, it flows down like a river, and it keeps on going endlessly, and it keeps on going endlessly.
Katya Grasso here on KRFC's Live at Lunch. I'd like to remind all our viewers that you can always view past, present, and future Live at Lunch episodes on KRFC's RadioVision YouTube channel. And while you're there, go ahead and become a member. Just click on the subscribe button and you'll receive weekly notifications of who's coming up on that week's Live at Lunch. I'm going to speak with Lance Ruby, and anybody who has watched Live at Lunch in the last year probably has heard Lance's story, but it's an interesting one.
Let's do it, Dave.
So, Lance, let's start off. Why don't you tell us how many people you're playing with, who all you're playing with these days?
Well, I just want to say that I'm just filling in today.
Right.
I think I met Rob today, and we played these tunes for the first time last night. So, I'm just hanging on for dear life right now. But I play with Musketeer Gripweed. I play with Graham Good and the Painters. I play with Bevan Luna. I play with did I say Graham Good already?
Yeah.
I play with Sugar Britches.
Yeah.
Did I say that one already?
No.
And I also play with Bo DePena. Those are all kind of my local people I play with. Yeah.
We've all had them all on Live at Lunch. So
so far, so good, right?
All right. So where did you come from right before you moved here to Fort Collins?
Yeah. So, all these fine folks are from a lot of different places. I made a lateral move. I'm from Utah, and I moved to Colorado. So those are the places I've lived. And I moved out here to get my master's degree in music at University of Northern Colorado in Greeley. And I found myself driving to Fort Collins every weekend to play gigs and do rehearsals and stuff. So when I was done with that degree, it just was a smart move to move out here to Fort Collins.
And we've spoken about this before, and not to put down Utah, but it's not really known as a hotbed of musical activity. What got you into music in Utah?
Yeah, I've always had a fascination with music. My dad he trains horses. He does that, and I've always just had a fascination with music. And
was your parents musical?
No, not at all. My mom always likes to joke that she can play the radio, and that's about it. So, it's kind of a mystery, but I just got super passionate about it. And I think the main thing is that I have always had terrible allergies. Oh. So being outside with my dad riding horses, I'm allergic to horses, cats, alfalfa.
Probably
and
dust.
My dad had barn cats. He trained horses, and we grew alfalfa on our farm. So
you had to get away from that.
Yeah, being outside was not a fun thing for me, but being inside and practicing guitar kind of became my life. And I just got super passionate about it and dedicated myself to the instrument. And and I also, my dad doing what he does, he has an insane work ethic. Every day out with the horses, doing chores, farming, and that kind of stuff. So I just kind of really applied that to guitar. And, I remember he was like, if you're not going to ride horses, you got to do something. And I just kind of applied that same work ethic. Can't say that phrase
It's okay,
today.
it's early.
And I just applied that to guitar and became super passionate and dedicated and just started, trying to get 2 hours a day and then 3 hours a day. And by the time I was in college, it was 5 or 8 hours a day playing the guitar. And now I teach guitar and I play guitar for a living. So the guitar is in my hands all day long. In fact, after this, I'm jumping in a van with Sugar Britches and we're going up to Steamboat Springs and playing 2 gigs.
What are you listening to now? Obviously, all the bands that you just listed have a wide variety of genres.
Yeah.
And you're obviously flexible and playing a little bit of everything. What are you listening to now as far as your personal faves, and what kind of influenced you to play guitar to begin with? As far as musically?
This week I've been listening to a lot of Katya. Trying to learn the tunes.
Yeah. Well, if you just learned them last night, again.
I got the tunes on Monday. I've been working on them.
Okay.
But I'm kind of weird. I know a lot of musicians like Bevan Luna, an amazing songwriter and musician I play with. She is all about the playlist and discovering new bands and all that. And man, I go on musical diets where I will listen to B.B. King live at the Regal for a year. and that's all I'm listening to, and I'm just trying to soak everything in. And
Who has some pretty unique tunings himself.
Yeah. Yeah, little tiny 8-gauge strings. But yeah, so I mean right now that's a big one. I'm always kind of checking back with that. B.B. King is kind of my hero. But I mean with the passing of Jeff Beck, I've been going through that catalog, and
It's amazing.
yeah, just I think he's the greatest. I think he's the GOAT of rock guitar. And nobody, I met a drummer one time. Well, I didn't meet him. I met a guy who played with him, and he said that he had played with Frank Zappa, Steve Vai, and Jeff Beck. And he said, Frank Zappa is the greatest composer alive. Steve Vai wants to be Frank Zappa when he grows up. And Jeff Beck is the greatest rock guitar player walking the planet. So I think that kind of, I've just been crazy emotional. I don't know why, but
Yeah.
I remember as a kid, I got the Eric Clapton Crossroads Festival DVD, and he's on that, and I was just absolutely blown away. I would sit on my couch with my Strat and try and do the whammy bar thing you can do, and could never figure it
Without
out.
crazy putting your guitar out of tune as you're doing it.
On purpose, yeah. But yeah, he's, so I've been checking out Jeff Beck a lot lately in the last couple days.
Well, B.B. King and Jeff Beck. Excellent
Yeah.
influences. All right, so we're going to get back into it with the other side of time.
Yes.
And why don't you tell us a little bit about this one, Katya?
So this is a song that I wrote with my brother Christopher, and it's a song about going through a journey. And although you don't know what's ahead of you, there's a lyric in this song that's like, "Let the candle of your flame kind of light the way," or the flame of your love and a relationship, or whatever that is. And it's a really nice song to think about whenever. I don't know, I miss him because we live on the other side of the country now. But he did sing this at his wedding to his wife, so it was a really, really special moment.
Wonderful. Katya Grasso here on KRFC's Live at Lunch.
Let's call it a walk through the dark, led by your heart and lit by the candle of our flame. With stars in our eyes, we'll have plenty of time, hand in hand through these waves. With nothing in mind, just the mystery at hand. We'll be sure to ride this one out, 'cause I got no doubt I'll be with you at the end of time. Reach out beyond what you see. We'll find you and me, sitting at the center of the galaxy. Oh, teach me that I can perceive with threads of the sun, with the sea. Oh, love, you can teach me how to see me as the unfolding mystery. reach out beyond what you see. We'll find you and me, sitting at the center of the galaxy. Oh, teach me that I can perceive with threads of the sun, with the sea. Oh, love, you can teach me how to see me as the unfolding mystery. And oh, so glad I am to have you by hand as we march out to sea. Just what we have in store when we make it ashore on the other side of time.
Well, thank you, Katya Grasso, for joining us today with Live at Lunch. Thank you, Jake and Rob and Lance. Anything you guys like to add? Shout out something you would mention, upcoming shows, Katya, here?
Yeah, we'd love to. So if KRFC wants something to do this weekend, we'd love to see you out at, let's see, we have tonight we're playing Sweetwater Brewing, and it's 7 to 9. I'm playing at Gilded Goat the 28th of January, and actually right before we'll be at Magic Rat, the Elizabeth Hotel.
The 27th?
The 27th, yes. So you can find all of our upcoming show dates on katyagrasso.com.
All right. And is that where people can obtain your music also, as well?
Yeah, so my music is on all streaming services. It's actually, yesterday was the 4-year anniversary of my first album, which most of these songs are on. So you can find that on Spotify as well as my singles. And then I'm also a vocalist for EDM artists. So you'll find a few tracks that you can dance to. So, yeah.
All right. Well, excellent having you all in here today. Why don't you lead us out with Built to Last?
Sounds great.
Katya Grasso here on Live at Lunch, streaming live at krfcfm.org.
Making plans just to throw them all away, sharing secrets we never meant to say. There's so much about you that I will never know. I'm afraid of holding on, you're afraid of letting go. Oh, how it all looks so beautiful in the past. Oh, one day, baby, we'll wake up and see why this love was never built to last. It was never built to last. Ideal lovers at the wrong time. Always something that didn't feel right. So why and see why this love was never built to last. It was never built to last.
Thank you for listening to Live at Lunch, and thank you to the Music District here in the heart of Fort Collins, Colorado. Live at Lunch is produced by KRFC 88.9 FM in the Ginger and Baker studio. If you'd like to appear on Live at Lunch, email our music director, David Vacek, at david@krfcfm.org.